the HomeTech Podcast for maybe Friday, February 9th. From Sarasota, Florida, I'm Seth Johnson.
From Reynoldsburg, Ohio, I'm TJ Huddleston.
And from Pickering, Ontario, I'm Gavin Campbell.
And welcome to the HomeTech Podcast all about home automation, home technology, and your Vision Pros. You guys got your Vision Pros? You guys
two of them.
Oh yeah, two of them. One for each eye.
I'm talking to you guys through it right now.
Oh, I couldn't even tell. Your avatar looks amazing.
I'm not for anybody that's not watching.
How do my eyes look?
You know, I really want one, but it's one of those products that like I know if I bought it, I would be mad in like a year or two when they release a new one because it'd be so outdated so quickly. And plus, I don't have $3,500 to drop on it. That's the real reason.
It's the real reason, yeah.
But
Yeah.
I mean, it sounds really cool.
I just know if I bought it, my wife would be mad because I'd be sitting next to her and not talking to her. I'd be laughing at stuff.
Or
She's
saying,
like,
"Oh, this is really cool," and she's just sitting there staring at you with evil eyes.
Honey, have you seen this? I'm sorry. You know,
I've met her before. She might actually enjoy that. she might think that's a good investment.
Oh, he's in his little world again. Just leave him.
Finally, you can stop touching all our TVs.
Yeah.
I talked to a friend of mine who got one, and he said that the mock-ups and everything they have are fairly. You expect to walk into this completely immersive thing, and it's not. Like you're actually using binoculars to watch TV is kind of the way he equated to it, because it doesn't have like a peripheral view. It's kind of like just like you still see the edges, right? So you're still looking through this. You're still looking through goggles essentially at the world, and that's kind of just that was distracting enough for him. But he did say one of the things he said that was really nice was watching TV. I was like, because he actually has a nice theater. He spent a decent amount of money setting up his own theater, and it's got good equipment in it. And he's got a good eye for things. He's a designer, so he can see colors and stuff that I can't. And he did say that like watching it on it was like really incredible. Like for the price, for he could say like that he spent like $60,000 on a theater, and for like $3,000, you're getting virtually the same experience outside the audio. Of course, you're not getting the same audio experience that he's getting with that. But like for the video, like that sounds like it's a pretty good hit on the nail on the head. Like, and everything, all the reviews and everything, I've heard that watching movies, the media experience is actually really good on it.
Yeah. I mean, I would, obviously I've never used it or anything, but I feel like that would probably be a fair assessment if I did have one. And nowadays, it's crazy that a lot of people are just watching TV on like their phones,
yeah,
and use it like the phone speakers. And so, if you pair this up with a pair of AirPods, like it's going to be better than what a lot of people are used to anyway. And so I can definitely see that as the use case. I don't know about buying it just for that reason. I feel like I would have to be productive in some capacity with it, but it is cool to hear that is a good point of it.
I just wonder how long it's going to take before you just get used to seeing it in public. Like it just becomes the norm. I remember when AirPods came out, it took a while, like a few months before you were just used to it, right? Like,
are people walking around with them? Like, is it more than just like a YouTube joke? That I figured it was just like, why would you walk out of the house with it?
I won't be surprised if eventually people just start walking around with it on, and like they have extended battery packs or something like that. I don't know, but yeah, it's probably gonna be the norm.
We've definitely seen people driving with them, and Apple issuing statements that you should not do that. So
the NTSB issued a statement saying you should not drive.
Which I think one video I saw was like somebody driving like a Tesla Cybertruck while wearing Apple Vision Pro and like doing the driverless thing, and I was like, "Yep, this is how you die." I mean, should not be doing that right now.
I don't know. It sounds like a very, very much like a first gen product. What my friend did say is like out of the gate, the interface, the interactions, he said they nailed that 100%. Like it's amazing, just extremely impressive for a first gen product. And that's good. That's going to help adoption with whatever they're trying to get there. And he also said that if they were to put this like into glasses form, it's like instantly buy no matter what price it was. Like it's an amazing piece. It's just kind of distracting not to be fully immersed like they were talking about. So maybe one day we'll have that cool technology.
If you would like to buy us a Vision Pro, you can go to HomeTech.fm and become a member of Patreon.
Yeah, at any level.
There's $1 and $5 levels, but honestly, underneath that, there's a make a custom pledge where you can choose your own price. Just drop $3,500 in there. We will share it. I will ship it to Canada, and we can all just participate.
Yeah.
Well, no, I think we have to have one of each, and Canada doesn't get one yet. I mean, Canada, you can't have one yet, Gavin. I'm sorry. Like the it's only for sale here in the state.
You see, like look at the thing here is TJ already said he would ship me one, and you're saying no, you can't have one.
Well, honestly,
who loves me more on this show? I now know.
I don't want to get in trouble with Canadian authorities about sending you
Mounties.
Yeah, Mounties. They'll come back and get me.
I didn't think about getting maple syrup on it though, so maybe we shouldn't send it to you.
Listen, you can't. You're already too late. No. So if you want to join our Patreon at the $5,000 level.
So for only $10,500, you can buy all three of us a Vision Pro without upgrades. We're not going to be stingy about it. If you don't want to give us money for the upgrades, that's fine.
I'll buy whatever band I need
tolerate.
Not picky about the color either. Do they come in multiple colors?
No.
I don't think they come in colors. I think it's just one.
Oh. Yeah. So pick any color you want. We'll take it. It doesn't matter.
Just like the first gen iPod or the first gen iPad and the first gen iPhone. Yeah, get it in the same color.
Interesting looking product. Maybe they'll be able to iterate on it and move it forward in the future. It sounds kind of cool. Very limited base though.
Yeah.
The reason I say that is because I was listening to somebody in Canada. He was actually able to buy it like on the Apple store. Bought it first thing. Did delivery pickup in the States. And then when he got back into Canada, he cranked it up and started watching something, and it came up, said, boop, not available. Like you can't get to the App Store or anything to download your apps. You can't sign in with your Apple ID. Just kind of like locked him out. I guess he could watch his Apple TV content and that kind of thing, but no apps, no fun.
Can he filter it through a VPN to get what he wants? Like us Canadians are used to doing that.
It's your ID has that Canadian address, man. So
that sucks.
I think I saw somebody on like the Apple subreddit or Vision Pro subreddit, something like that, that has never owned an Apple device, and they bought the Vision Pro as their first Apple device. And I think like a good quarter of the content was locked because they didn't have an iPhone to like set it up with and stuff like that. So
how do you do that?
That's a little strange as your first Apple product, but I mean, some people are really happy about it. So
yeah, good for them. Well, I'm sure Apple's going to lose a ton of money like they always do on it. So. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Have you guys seen what's that new social network thing? A Blue
Sky?
Blue Sky, yeah.
No, that's been around for a while, hasn't
it? Well, it has been, but it's in beta.
It was invite only for a while.
It's out of invite now?
It's out of invite now. So I went and signed up just to get my name, and I looked at it, and it was kind of just like Mastodon, where all the people who have been there were like, maybe we can turn our invites into disinvites now, and like just like talking about like all the new people.
Were they bashing X on there too? Like every post is
no, just all the new people. They were just bashing new people, and I'm like, all right, well this is going to take some time for this to blow over. But it looks like an interesting little concept of a social network. Still relies on kind of one company. They say it's decentralized, but it's not. It still relies on the one company to exist and be there to moderate, kind of do stuff with. So I don't know. We'll keep an eye on it, see if it kind of increases in traffic. But if you find me over there, I think it's like Seth Johnson at whatever the Blue Sky default domain was. And then if you find me on there, you can follow me, but I won't be posting it. I'll just be over on Mastodon. So
I find these social networks, it all comes down to the client to me. So like on Mastodon, I really like it because I'm using the Ivory client.
Yeah.
Right. On X, I hate the client. The only reason I liked it was because of the old not tweet. Was it Tweetbot?
Tweetbot, yeah.
Yeah. That's the only reason I liked it. But the new one is just garbage. I can't keep up to date with things. Every now and then I scroll. I don't go on it often. And if Blue Sky is the same way, I probably just wouldn't use it.
Yeah, it's very much the same way. What I think they have figured out how to do a little bit better than Mastodon was the discovery thing, where you can kind of like follow lists, or I think they have what they're called. They kind of like went with the AI angle of things. They have like an algorithm that you can follow, and it'll introduce you to new content. But if you're a developer, you can make your own algorithm that gives you whatever content that developer wants you to see. I don't know. I think it's a clever idea. But still kind of lipstick on the same pig. But we'll see what happens to it. There's still a lot of weird stuff happening over there that doesn't happen on Mastodon. Mastodon, I definitely have seen some really good content and conversations happening. So I'm happy with that. I'm probably going to stick over there and not deal with this other thing.
Well, I just signed up because I didn't realize it was out of invite. It looks like Threads from the interface to me. It's like initial reaction. So
it looks like Twitter did. I mean, or does, I guess. It doesn't really look very much different.
It's so sad because I'm signing up and it's asking for my birth date and it starts at 2004. Still scrolling up. Still scrolling up.
Keep scrolling.
You can just type it, Gavin.
Let that Logitech wheel whiz. Whee!
It's sad. I mean, they start at 2004 now. I feel old.
Yeah, it's old. That's old enough for the internet.
I don't know what the website is. It's not bluesky.com because that is some kind of shop for like day planners and calendars.
bsky.app.
Oh, okay. Well,
because that makes sense.
This bluesky.com calendar company is going to be making the money. Everybody's talking about Blue Sky.
Where's my social media? All I see is these calendars.
Their little Shopify site is getting hammered right now. So good for them. But anyway, that's that. If you find us over there, I probably will just keep everything over on Mastodon. It seems simpler. And from what I understand, that the Blue Sky and the the Thread stuff is supposed to be integrating with the Fediverse stuff. So it's all kind of going to be like dumped into the same thing at some point anyway. I don't know. I'm kind of over it. Seems like people really want that, that stuff. And I'm content with the little community there over in Mastodon. If it continues to grow, I'll be happy with that. Anyway, we got a couple of HomeTech headlines this week and some project updates. So what do you guys say we jump in?
Let's do it.
All right. We talked about this before. Comcast has agreed to stop using the branding Xfinity 10G network for its internet service after an advertising watchdog found it was misleading.
What?
The National Advertising Review Board stated that the term could mislead consumers into thinking that Comcast services offered faster speeds than current generation networks. Because 10G is just a thing. And Comcast, I guess, the NARB recommended that Comcast discontinue the use of the term 10G in its product service name, as well as within describing the Xfinity network. And it found that using 10G to refer to home broadband was misleading because consumers would assume that they would get 10 gigabit speeds on every Xfinity connection, which is exactly what I thought when I saw their advertisement. Funny enough. And then I went and read what they were doing and couldn't believe that they were actually doing it. But here they are.
Kind of like the AT&T 5G thing that they did.
Well, I mean, even that it was like, well, it was 5th generation and nobody kind of knew anything about it. But like 10G is 10 gigabit. Like if you go to the store and you buy a 10G switch, it's a 10 gigabit switch. Like this is completely and utterly misleading. I guess Comcast says they will still use the terms 10G and Xfinity 10G in some marketing, but in ways that are hopefully not as misleading. Interesting stance. They do not agree with the NARB's assessment, but says they will stop calling their services that. Good old Comcast.
Won't anybody think of the ISPs?
Jeez Louise. I'm still in shock they were able to go off and do something like that. It's just amazing, absolutely amazing. Anyway, let's move on here. I got a new product from Amazon-owned Ring. They've got a new version of the video doorbell, the Ring Battery Doorbell Pro. It features a radar-powered 3D motion detection for those aerial perspectives and advanced alerts. The camera lens is aligned with premium imaging sensors for clear video definition, as well as high-efficiency compressions for lifelike color and sharpness. The Battery Doorbell Pro also has a low-light sight for clear color in low-light settings, which is kind of nice. It can be paired with other Ring devices and create a whole home ecosystem that they offer. Doorbell is available pre-order at $229 and be shipping on March 6th.
Yeah, I don't like this big one though. I mean, I'm not a fan of the giant footprint. I feel like the Pro line has always been like the slimmer model ones. And so it's weird that they've taken this Pro and then made it the fatter one again.
It's the fat one, yeah.
I'm not a fan of that, but
yeah, that's right. The Pro was the slim looking.
Yeah, it's always been a slim one as far as I'm aware.
You're right.
So that's kind of weird. I understand because the battery and all that good stuff, but I would have just called it something else. Battery Doorbell Advanced or something. I don't know.
Well, with it being battery powered too, you have more mounting options, I guess, at this point, right? So you can put it on a bigger wall, because where mine is, it's like I wouldn't have the space for it. But if it's a battery powered, I can mount it on the other side and have space for it.
Right. Or you could do like Seth's neighbor and mount it up on their garage or their second
above their garage door.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So the battery lets you put it anywhere. Like I've seen people who, I guess on our older homes here, a lot of the times the wire for the doorbell would come out like on the door trim or something like that. Mm-hmm. So it was fine for the doorbells were like the tiny little push button things, but not so great for these fat Ring doorbells that you can get. So they're able to put the Ring doorbells like on another wall, and I guess charge them every so often, which you kind of have to do with the battery powered stuff. So yeah, I'm looking at their line now. They've got they've got a bunch of different doorbells now, but yeah, the Pro one is definitely has gotten some weight on it now.
Don't fat shame the Pro.
So they've got a Video Doorbell Pro, a Video Doorbell Pro 2, and now they've got the Battery Doorbell Pro, which is the same as the same size as the Video Doorbell and the Battery Doorbell Plus. So, all right, let's move on here. We got some streaming news. Disney Plus has started cracking down on password sharing here in the U.S. after implementing the restriction in the good old North Canada last year. Subscribers have started receiving emails notifying them about a change in Disney Plus's terms of service, stating that the password sharing outside the household is no longer permitted unless otherwise allowed by their service tier. There we go. Have you guys seen this word? I guess I can say it because it's like the 2023 word of the year, enshittification. Have you seen it?
Yes. It's something, I'm liking it.
It's every time something like this comes up, I'm like, oh yeah, that was why they came with that word. And I guess it totally applies. I mean, it applies to all these online services. And it basically goes to describe, the constant, basically like how these online services really come in nice and sweet for everyone. And then they turn the screws on everybody and just are mean to everybody. And so we're getting there. We're getting there.
I remember when Disney Plus first started, it was like a ridiculous price. Everyone was so excited about it.
It was like $75 for 3 years. We took them up on that offer and used it for 3 years with my daughter, and it was great. And now it's creeping up. The price is creeping up, and now we can't share the password. Not that we were.
I'm losing access to more and more streaming services as they go along. My sister, she's cutting me off slowly, one by one.
Yeah, I feel like at this point, TV is kind of like the next radio. People are going to use TV and they're going to keep doing it and stuff like that. But maybe the Apple Vision Pro is just going to replace TV. All these streaming services are getting ridiculous now, and it's hard to keep up. And half of them don't even make good content anymore.
Yeah,
and they're killing everything after a season or two and not renewing, and it's just so aggravating. So I don't even watch TV anymore. Just watch YouTube videos.
Well, Disney will give you like 50 different versions of Marvel that you've never heard of. It's like, okay, I see. I guess this is cool, but at some point you just kind of get burned out about seeing Marvel heroes and that kind of thing. It's like, well,
and they're introducing these new superheroes. I understand they're trying to, but come on, Wonder Man. Like, seriously,
it's like,
it's Wonder Woman.
Where's AV guy? Come on.
I know. No, but
we already saw that. Did we watch that show?
Oh yeah, the after party.
Yeah.
They're trying to build up some backstories from some new characters. They'll probably see which one sticks and make a movie out of it. But I think their most success has been with the Star Wars stuff.
Well, and especially like the superhero stuff too. When you like push out 50 movies in a 10-year time frame, like of course people are going to get burned out.
Yeah, it's the same with Star Wars. They have introduced. There's another like a Star Wars series on there now, and usually we're like on it. And I was looking, I'm like, is that a Star Wars thing? Where did that come from? And I guess I can't even remember the name of it, but it's there's some new Star Wars characters to go and take a look at, and another story to watch, which is nice, I guess. But man, it's hard to keep up with sometimes.
Yeah.
Well, we got some sports ball streaming news here.
Yes.
This is this for you, TJ. ESPN, Fox, and Warner Brothers Discovery have announced a joint venture to create a new sports streaming platform. Woo! The platform will offer live games from major U.S. sports leagues and events, including the NFL, NBA, MLB, NHL, FIFA World Cup, and of course, who can forget, Grand Slam tennis. It will. Hang on, TJ. There's more. It'll also have content from college sports, UFC, the PGA Tour, golf, and NASCAR, among others. The new sports streaming service is set to be launched in the fall of 2024, with subscribers able to bundle it from Disney Plus, Hulu, and or Max.
This is great, actually.
Yeah, I was going to say, if you're into sports, this is actually really cool because this sports stuff has been kind of like just spread thin over a bunch of different apps, and you had to kind of like pick and choose. But if they're all consolidated in one place, and it's Hulu or Disney Plus or wherever you're already getting your your TV stuff from, like, just hit play there. Good to go.
This one actually makes sense because,
Yeah.
like you said, I mean, the sports and streaming, whenever somebody asks me about they're switching from cable to streaming, they're like, oh, I watch a lot of sports. I'm like, well, your life is about to get way more difficult and way more expensive. So this would be a good option for people.
Well, we didn't say this was going to be cheap. Like, they didn't say.
No, it's definitely going to be like $1,000 a month. I mean, let's be honest. But I mean, it's a good option though, because like, you have to have like YouTube TV, then you have to have a local antenna, and then you have to do this and you have to do that. And it's so aggravating. So if somebody is like a heavy sports watcher and stuff, and they want to switch to streaming, I usually try to talk them out of it because it's way more complicated.
Sports and news, I always found, were the two, like, when it came to streaming, were the two difficult ones up here, because we have our local news channel that everybody pretty much watches, right? But you got to use their app or, go to their site, and it's not cheap. The key to me with this is the price, right? Like, if they can make it affordable and you get all this stuff, that would be awesome, because that's what I always wanted, was a place that had like all the major sports in it. And I don't want the other thing too, hopefully they don't black out games.
I was going to say, do they still have the blackout stuff going on?
That used to drive me nuts. That's one of the reasons I hated the streaming, because I remember once I got the NBA streaming service, but every game I wanted to watch was blacked out because it was on our local cable. And that I didn't have cable. That's why I got the streaming service. So I couldn't, the only way I could do it was the VPN from somewhere in Europe. And I got what I want, but it's, for what you pay for it, it just wasn't worth it. So I'm hoping they aren't as annoying. The other thing I hate is when you got a streaming service and it goes to commercial and you just watch some weird thing happening in between timeouts and stuff like that. Like, I kind of like the commercials sometimes too, right? So fill that with something entertaining, at least the timeout times, so I don't just, see the crowd doing weird stuff during timeouts.
Yeah. It's commercials. That what's it called? The Taylor Swift Bowl is this weekend, right? So yes. I don't really know what it's about. Like, it's literally all the only news I've seen about it is Taylor Swift being at the Super Bowl, and I'm like, who are the teams playing? I don't even know. But there will be commercials, and the commercials $7 million for a 30-second segment. That's crazy.
Wow, that's pretty crazy. But Taylor Swift will be there.
Taylor Swift will be there, so that'll be worth it. Yeah. You get those Swifties on your side, man. That's a cult right there.
Yeah. Well, she made them like $300 million. So, I mean, why not?
Seriously, who's playing? It's got to be, she was dating somebody. Kansas City. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Oh, San Francisco. Okay.
It's bad when Gavin knows that and we don't.
Gavin's a sports guy.
I watch, and we have our little day planned. I pre-ordered some food. We got some wings, some chili, some spring rolls coming in, and we got like everything's lined up. It's not about the football game. It's about just a group of friends getting together, and there's a football game playing on the TV. Like, we don't really care about that. Well, we're getting good food.
Yeah. We generally do like. We go into the freezer and find all those frozen things we haven't cooked yet and cook them all at once, and then just have like all the frozen freezer things. And my daughter will like whatever, like she'll be rooting for the team that is winning at the time. So she'll like, I'm for the blue team. And then it'll change over like, I'm for the red team or I'm for the green team. So it's really funny to have her. She sits there and watches sports all the time because she loves to watch the little numbers go up, I guess, and tell us that she is for whoever's winning.
Bandwagoner.
Yep.
I'm going to keep an eye on this, though, because it looks interesting. Of course, it probably won't come to Canada, though.
Oh, that's true. Didn't even think about that. Sorry, man.
Well, what sports do you guys have up there anyway, besides hockey?
Hockey.
I can't believe... basketball was invented in Canada?
No, it was invented in Indiana.
All right, you can have whatever you want to believe. I'll just let you guys believe what you want to believe. We have all the sport. We have
hockey and curling. What else do you got?
We got darts.
Darts. No, Gavin, I said sports.
That is a sport.
You
just offended a bunch of people.
Not bar games. Not next you're gonna tell me pool's a sport.
We have CFL. We have
this is the guy that doesn't play any sports, by the way. So if anybody's listening to this and you're offended, just know that I played softball in high school, and that's it. So
in December 1891, a Canadian-American professor of physical education and instructor
He was Canadian. Don't attach the American on there.
I'm just going to say where he was in Springfield, Massachusetts.
Yeah, see, he wasn't even Canadian.
Yeah, he was here. He's trying to keep his gym class active on a rainy day. So that's where basketball.
To be fair, though, I understand where you're coming from, Gavin, because Ohio says that they're first in flight, even though Orville and Wilbur Wright were born in Ohio. The first flight was in South Carolina or North Carolina. So,
and I just want to say I'm sorry for all our Brazilian listeners. We're not going to ignore the fact that you may have flown down there first, but whoops. Yeah.
Americans are very good at erasing other people's history.
First. Yes. Okay. Yeah. We said we were first, and
that's all that matters.
What do you got to say? Yeah.
What do you have? History books to look at?
Yeah. Don't do that.
There was no internet back then, so you can't go prove it.
Yeah. It was. What are you going to get a steamship and come tell us Americans that you flew first? I don't think so. Oh man. All right.
They'll just change the Wikipedia and that changes history.
It's not changing those license plates though. That's for sure.
That's right. Speaking of that, when they released the new version of the Ohio's license plate, they had the inaugural flight on there, but the designer put the plane flying backwards, which everybody thought was hilarious. And they made the announcement and didn't realize it, and everybody was like, "Hey, wait a minute, guys, that plane is actually backwards." Just so you know.
Didn't know. Oh wow, that is funny.
You look it up.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's amazing. I went through all those checks and balances to a press conference, and everybody was like, "Wait a minute, this doesn't look right."
That's too good. That's too good. Well, I mean, it's pulling the little banner across the thing from the front of the plane. Totally makes sense. I get it.
Yeah.
So back to sports. Yeah, I hope we get this in Canada because
we have tried to derail this conversation.
Yeah.
left turn.
ESPN too. You see, all the things they mention is like, do I get that in Canada?
I mean, there's like 12 ESPN channels now, so if they can condense it down to like 4, that'd be great. Customers always like, "What's ESPN Max?" I'm like, heck if I know.
ESPN 8, the Ocho.
You guys get everything.
Yeah, I mean, this is all-in-one sports stream, including, let's see, it's got ESPN, ESPN2, ESPNU, SECN, ACCN, ESPN News, ABC Fox, FS1, FS2, because you can't have just an FS, BTN, TNT, TBS, True TV, as well as ESPN Plus. Why they couldn't put ESPN Plus up at the front with all the other ESPNs? I don't know, but
I know who sorted this, like even ESPN News, it's on its own. It's like, come on, at least sort the list. But no, it's a good selection there. Like you'll get the pro golf, you even get the live golf, you get the PGA golf, so I get to watch all the golf I want to watch. Like if there's no blackouts and stuff and it's a good price, man, I might have to figure out a way to get this.
I think the blackouts come from the local broadcast, not necessarily your cable, but like the guys who, well, I guess it's the local TV stations who have whatever through their affiliates or whatever have paid for the rights to broadcast it locally, and that's what causes the blackouts on streaming. So I don't know that those contracts have necessarily been renegotiated because they kind of want you to watch their commercials and not those things you don't like anyway. So I don't know. It would be nice if they could just bring those streams in, right? Like work with all the local markets and bring those streams in so you don't have any blackouts. You actually just watch the local channel. Watch it that way.
It's got no rugby though, so I'm gonna miss out on that. No wiffle ball either.
Stop.
What?
I feel like you're just making up things at this point.
Wiffle ball, pro wiffle ball is awesome. Like it's high action.
Now give me pro dodgeball and I'll watch.
Oh, they have pro tag. Pro tag? No, have you seen the pro tag? We're derailing this again. Don't we have stories to cover? Pro tag.
No, we don't. This is it. Pro tag. That's what we're talking about this week's home tech.
I'm just gonna put whack bat rules into the show notes. That's all. That's anybody's gonna come and look in our show notes. Is just gonna be whack bat information. So there you
What's that new tennis league? What do they call it? It's not tennis, but it's what do they call it? It's everyone's playing it now.
Oh, pickleball.
Yeah, they have a pro pickleball league now. I was actually watching that the other day.
I've never even seen pickleball.
Yeah, I watched the pro pickleball the other day and I was like, oh, let me check this out for a couple minutes. And 2 hours later, I was cheering on the winning team.
Yeah, it's like a low impact tennis thing. It's very popular here in Florida. And one of my neighbors is one of the big pickleball coaches and
it's like mini tennis
champions and that kind of thing. It's like tennis with the wiffle balls.
Interesting. Yeah, I've only heard older people talking about it.
Yeah, it's coming down because it's like a lower, like if you have like knee injuries or anything
Yeah,
like that,
that makes sense.
it's definitely coming down in the age range, but it's a lot lower impact. You can play it in a lot of different places, so it's an interesting little sport, something fun to do.
But it's not on this streaming service. Back to the news story here.
Back to news.
All right.
All right. Well, Google Assistant will no longer be supported on Samsung Smart TVs due to a policy change. This means that users will lose the ability to control their TVs using voice commands through Google Assistant. This change will take place starting on June 30th, 2024, and will affect all Samsung Smart TVs, manufactured from 2019 and later. The decision comes as a result of a policy change by Google, which is shifting its focus to its own Google TV platform. Of course, something that it will probably cancel in the future, just like this policy. Google has been gradually phasing out support for third-party smart TVs, and Samsung was the latest manufacturer to be impacted. The move seems to be seen as strategic to help promote Google TV and drive adoption of that particular platform. Don't like losing to stuff, especially stuff that like exists, but you've got a couple of months, I guess, to figure out where else to go.
That's right. You shouldn't be using the built-in TV software anyway. So
you should be using Google anyway.
Yeah. They seem to not have a problem with doing stuff like this. If you are integrated with the Google Home, you've probably been frustrated in this way a number of times in the past. So
they're not afraid of change.
Definitely not afraid of change. Anyway, that's pretty much it. All the links and topics we discussed tonight can be found over on our show notes over at HomeTech.fm/469. All right, we do have something in the mailbag today. I think they're going to be directed toward Gavin. This is from Justin. It says, question, if you might be able to help. Also, how are the printers going? So I'm not familiar with MQTT, but it seems like it might be helpful in my use case. I have a project with Lutron RAW 3, and I would like to control on and off and dimming of media room using Hue without changing the control. Would like to keep everything on RAW 3 keypads. So like there's keypads that RAW 3 has like up and down buttons and that kind of things that you can put on them. It says the Home has a dedicated Mac Mini that runs as scripted and Home Assistant currently. And he was thinking of using one of those gang box modules that could be set with the Hue bulbs via Zigbee. He's looking for something that ideally will work without relying on Home Assistant. Well, I guess this isn't for Gavin. You just crossed your name off right there. I would be more interested in a hub for reliability, but not sure if anything is available. Any ideas on how to do this? I know where I'm going to go with this. TJ?
I don't know.
All right. I think Justin, you're going to be the first one that should get this Homey thing because I'm pretty sure.
Genius.
I'm pretty sure Homey can integrate with both of these and do exactly what you want to do. And you'll be the first one to do this, and you can give us the feedback on how this
buy
works. Buy it.
Buy it and let us know. But I feel like if he doesn't want to rely on Home Assistant, he's not going to want to rely on something else, though.
Yeah, and I'll be honest, like I've had back and forth conversation with him about this topic and some ideas, and we were talking about things like Zigbee binding because he had the Hue bulbs and they work with Zigbee binding, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we went down some rabbit holes where I think he was even looking at some kind of relay that could detect like power coming onto the light and then send the Zigbee binding command over to the Hue lights, which is not a bad idea. Like I can imagine it.
It's very easy.
And it would be that's the only thing it could break, but it also doesn't rely on a hub or anything. You'll still need the Home Assistant hub to bind them all. But once they're binding, if that hub's offline, it's actually probably going to be more reliable too, right? Like it's not going to, because they'll be directly connected to each other at that point, right? So we went back and forth a little thing. He's doing some research to figure out what his options are. But I was more thrown off, and I brought this to you guys because I know nothing about the Lutron RAW stuff, right? And how it tied in. And I don't think you can get any direct integration with light bulbs. I think he said that's on the higher end stuff you can probably get that, but not with what he's working with. So I don't know. I like binding. I like the Zigbee binding stuff though.
Yeah, I feel like that's probably your best idea.
Yeah, because I was thinking like a current sensing switch, and you can something Zigbee like that, so it detects power once you turn the light on, it will detect power, and then it can send the Zigbee binding command over to your bulbs to also turn on, right? Or whatever, however you want to do it, right? And sometimes you get it to the point where it's like just rerun new wires so it controls all the lights. I don't know how hard that is. Add another switch, rerun another wire. Reliability.
I mean, so taking it back to the Lutron stuff, I don't know. I'm trying to find if Homey has actually Lutron integrations, and it seems like they should, but I'm not finding anything in their support section for Lutron. So
How about Oliver IQ?
yeah, they may be able to do it. I think the reason it kind of like put me back a little bit, like Lutron used to have a standard integration path that they had, basically a telnet thing you could open up and you give it a username and password and you can send the commands and receive status updates and that kind of thing. It's a very basic integration. But I think more recently, they started to do kind of a different type of API. And that required like to have like a key or whatever, a application ID and a key or whatever issued from Lutron to be able to communicate with the devices. At least that's what I'm remembering. I haven't dealt with Lutron in a long time. So from what I remember, I'm thinking about like what the stuff used to work with, how it used to work, I would say, that Homey Pro should be able to do it, but I'm not sure that it can. So I'm not seeing anything on here.
But that's just another hub now controlling everything, right?
Yeah, and I wouldn't do that when you have Home Assistant that can.
If you have the thing here is like you have two separate systems, right? He's got Hue and he's got Lutron. And if you want to bridge them together, there's only one way to do it. You got to have a hub in the middle. Like It's going to be reliant on that. So if you want to bridge those two things together without changing out one or the other, the idea, and I would leave the Lutron controls because they're super expensive and they look nice on your walls. So I wouldn't put anything new in. I would see if there's a way that you could integrate the RAW 3 stuff in and see if you can get those keypad button presses off of the RAW 3 into Home Assistant. And TJ,
which you can supposedly.
Yeah,
that's the way I would go.
At least those little events you can have come in and you can make them trigger to turn on the whatever. You can change as soon as it's Home Assistant, whatever you have integrated with Home Assistant, you can trigger with those keypad presses. So this says here, yes, you can also trigger. This is a link that TJ put to a Reddit post for Home Assistant with R3, and he says, yes, you can also trigger a button press from Home Assistant, and the LEDs can be synced with Blueprint. For instance, he says he has his downstairs shades on a button that the LED will stay on until all the downstairs shades are closed. So there may be a pretty tight integration there, and I'd probably recommend doing that. And then that way you don't have to change anything out. You already have Home Assistant set up. Just pop this in between. It seems to be Home Assistant's been pretty reliable. I haven't had any problems with getting my graphs or my
changing your terrible theme.
Changing anything on changing my terrible theme. Yeah. I don't know. I would use this. This is the way I would go.
Once again, Home Assistant is the answer to everything.
Well, he already says he's running it. A dedicated Mac Mini running scripted in Home Assistant. So
right.
I would just
he doesn't want to rely on it, but I feel like you have to at this point.
Yeah.
Unless you're going to change out your lighting hardware,
unless you're going to change,
suggest it. Because I mean, Lutron RAW 3 is great stuff. So, or RAW in general.
Yeah, I wouldn't get rid of RAW 3. This stuff is too expensive to throw away, and it's a really nice product.
To me, that's all right.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to send it to TJ, he'd be more than happy to take off your hands, and then you can figure out whatever goes with the Hue stuff to control it directly. But I don't know. I think you have more options in front of you if you keep the RAW 3, integrate it with Home Assistant, and then you can trigger literally anything integrated with your media room for Hue to dim things on and off, change colors, all that good stuff. So that's the way I would go.
Yep. And I just wanted to get your guys' opinion and feedback on this. So, free consulting.
Well, still haven't sold a Homey Pro. Kind of disappointed in that.
Somebody buy one, dang it.
Tell us how it is.
You buy a Homey Pro for yourself and buy an Apple Vision Pro for all of us.
Exactly. Well, tell you what, if you get me an Apple Vision Pro, then I will buy you the Homey Pro. How about that?
Wow.
Just an even swap. Yeah.
What a nice guy.
Wow. So nice. So nice.
I might take you up on that.
Yeah. It seems like a pretty good deal. It's like 3 for 1, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see. All right. Let's move on here. Pick of the week. We've got a pretty funny picture of the week. This is hilarious. Somebody has put up what's called the ASCII Theater. And this thing, if you remember ASCII art from back in the day, back in the bulletin board service days, like you'd have these beautiful things you dial into, and there'd be just ASCII on your computer screen, different colors, different shades. Well, that's all, gotten a lot better nowadays because computers are faster, and there's all sorts of stuff you can do with ASCII now. And evidently, one of the things you can do that nobody should have done, but you can do, is stream movies with ASCII. And they have made an ASCII theater. You copy a command and you paste it into your terminal and hit enter, and you get to watch the movie of the day. Today, that movie is The Shining. I've been watching it the entire time. And guys, you were asking if it has sound. It does not have sound, but it does have subtitles. So I can see Aaron Long and see here's Johnny. See that happening. I think they're at the point they checked into the hotel, and I think that's a lamp made out of ASCII things. I don't know. If you step probably about 30 feet away, you might be able to think that you see a picture. But otherwise, it's pretty wild. A movie a day. You get to watch it streaming there in ASCII, and set it up, get it running in the background. It's in 420 by 69 characters, not pixels, characters.
This is how we used to pirate movies back in the day.
Yeah. This is what porn looked like back in the day.
Yeah. Some Leisure Suit Larry going on.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Back in the day, that's how I still operate.
This is great. It's definitely somebody's done a really good job at this. I love this. This is great.
Oh, I got The Shining playing right now.
Yep, me too. It's snowing. I've been playing it since we started recording. So.
Oh, okay.
They're getting snowed in right now. All right. Let's move on here. Let's see. If you have any feedback, questions, comments, picks of the week, or great ideas for a show, give us a shout. Our email address is feedback@hometech.fm, or you can visit hometech.fm/feedback and fill out the online form. All right. Project updates. Well, first, we have a Home Assistant update we have to talk about. 2024.2 has been released. This is the shortest release of the year, but here it is, February. It's a leap year, though, so we might get another update out.
Yep, and it's a nice update. The one nice feature I like in this is the drag and drop now in automations. So when you're editing your automations, you could drag and drop, actions and stuff all over the place. And that's just a usability thing. I think people are really going to like that. Makes working with the automations much better. So you'll enjoy that. Other, changes that I added, ZHA, which is the built-in Zigbee, integration, now has update entities. So that's pretty good. They added some matter diagnostic and actions, so you can get some more information when your matter is not working like it should be. Though I have to be honest, my matter has been very stable lately, so it looks like they did do some matter updates. Ooh. And my stuff hasn't dropped off since I merged the networks. It's been really stable.
They listened to us, man. We did.
I know. And there's a bunch of other stuff, but you can get that through their release notes. But make sure you review the breaking changes. Like there was one big one in there for my MQTT stuff. I had to go and do some pre-work, but the upgrade went pretty smoothly after I did that. So always review the breaking changes.
It's new icons.
It's a background thing that they allow you to put icons on certain things now that you couldn't before. So not like new icons. It's just some more icon functionality.
Interesting. They've got a new sound event sensors introduced in Unify Protect. So they've got an update to the Unify Protect integration, some Tuya stuff. There's all sorts of new
stuff.
Yeah, I love all this stuff. It's like brand new stuff. They've got the new Google AI conversation Gemini Pro thing they're tinkering with here. So that's pretty cool.
Yep. There's a lot of updates like every month. You got to dig through the release notes and stuff like that to find them, right? And some YouTubers, they'll cover the top ones. And I just went through the ones I liked.
Ooh, Govi Lights Local. There we go.
There you go. That's a big one.
There you go, TJ.
Bingo.
Yep. Moving from 1.6 to 2.0 for 2024. There we go.
Ooh.
Go, hot dog, go.
Hopefully it'll revert your theme for us.
Nope.
Yeah,
that's staying.
Yellow and red themes.
I accidentally deleted it. I don't know what happened. Thanks, Home Assistant.
That's too bad. All right. Well, we got a couple of project updates here. Gavin, what you been up to?
So people have asked about my, how my printing issues have been going. Well, my printer's been working fine, but I have my 3D printer. That's a whole different ball game, right? So this week was a lot of I broke the nozzle in the heat block when I was changing nozzles. That kind of sucked, but it gave me the opportunity to pull apart my 3D printer, all the heat block, everything. And I got more comfortable with doing that. So I always advise people, if you have the time, you're brave enough, pull it all apart and figure out how it all works, because you get to know your printer really well. So when something's not working, it's not as bad as you think, So I've been fighting with that printer, but my regular printer that prints paper been working fine. Like I have no issues with that, like it's been working great. So yeah, I only have 3 printers in this house, and
Maybe you need to get a Matter printer.
What the heck's a Matter printer? Tell me, what would a Matter printer print?
Matter. I mean, obviously.
Oh, okay. Hey, TJ, Seth, you have to reboot. Something's going on in your background there.
Seth doesn't reboot.
I think it had a core update thing to do. So
yeah,
I'm going to let it do its thing. And
all right. The flashing boxes are, distracting there, but at least it dimmed your theme, so we're good. Leave it. Dim the theme.
It's much more pleasant now.
Damn it, he clicked on it. Oh,
it doesn't hurt to look at Seth.
Yeah.
Oh, thank God, it's back now.
It'll reconnect whenever it restarts.
But the other thing I was looking at this week, so I have a couple sensors that run some CR2032 batteries sitting outside, and I noticed those batteries are constantly dying fast in the cold weather. So I kind of was looking up, like what are good batteries for outdoors in the cold weather? And, there were recommendations. I was reading everybody's, misinformation and stuff like that. But somebody recommended a brand called Murata. They make a CR2032 batteries, and they said they really last long in cold weather, just because of their slow discharge at those temperatures. And they gave like all the specs around the batteries and the discharge rates and, the different temperatures. So I was like, let me grab a couple of those for my outdoor sensors. And I have to admit, they've been pretty solid so far. If I get like 8 months of that out, if they make it through this winter that we're not having, I'll be good with that, right? And then again, the heat, if they make it through the summer, I'm good with that. So if you have outdoor sensors, pay close attention to the batteries you put in. That's my advice, just because they're going to go through temperature changes and that affects performance, right? So do some research, look for your outdoor batteries.
Interesting. I would not have thought about that. I'm having all sorts of problems with my Ring light things outside right now. Like,
what battery do you have? Is it Ring batteries that you put in, or is it just regular batteries?
They're like a long rechargeable.
Yeah, they have the proprietary battery.
Yeah, you don't really have a choice with those, right? But you would figure Ring would give you an outdoor battery.
It's roughly, I don't know, it's roughly these lithium, was it the S18 650s or whatever, like this?
Oh, no, they're normal batteries then.
But the Ring
18650s.
They're a little bit bigger. So I think whatever Ring is using, they have like added a little extra piece of metal to the end of it. So like I could put these in there, but I would need to modify them in some way to take up the extra space. Maybe like a little bit of foil or something.
Yeah. And you had some really cold weather there, so it's gonna affect your battery performance too.
Really, I think mostly it's the sun. Like we don't have as much sun as it's used to, and it's like I just given up the ghost. One of them's not even turning on anymore, so I got to go take it out, plug it in, let it charge, and kind of do its thing. So there it goes. Home Assistant's back. Good idea on the outdoor batteries. So
yeah, would never even thought about that.
TJ, what have you been up to?
I've been doing some projects as well. So I decided to make my life more complicated this week and switch from Z-Wave JS and Home Assistant to Z-Wave JS UI. Which is basically, I guess, Z-Wave to MQTT, but not the exact same thing. I had to back up my Z-Wave stuff, which Gavin, graciously sent me a link to do because I subscribed to Gavin as a service. And I got everything backed up and restored. But one of the annoying things is my names didn't transfer. And so I had to go through and figure out what all of my devices were and rename them. But of course the names don't there's two different parts to it. So you name it in the one part and it doesn't really transfer to the other part. And so you have to go back and forth and figure out what it is. And it's way more complicated than I need it to be. But literally the only reason I did it is because my second project, or I guess the main project, I installed some LED strip lights in my den, which basically is like a converted backyard porch. And so there was like one light in there, and it was like an outdoor light, and it wasn't given enough light for the room. And so I needed something in there. So I installed some Cobb LED strips that I had just laying around. They work great. But I wanted to be able to control it with my smart switch without relying on like automations. And so in order to do that with Z-Wave associations, I had to install this Z-Wave JS UI thing. And now that I've got it all switched over and everything, it's great. It works fast. It's kind of like the Zigbee bindings where it just like directly connects the devices together. And so you don't really rely on the hub, which is nice. And the response time has been really good, just like the Zigbee bindings that I did with the Philips Hue lights. So that was definitely worth it. It was just more complicated than I was probably hoping for. And the LED strips go around the whole den, and it's so bright in there right now. I can only like set it to like 50% brightness, where it looks like I have like a grow operation going on in my house. So that was pretty nice.
Well,
it's legal in Ohio now.
It's illegal. Yeah. Guys passed a law and stuff.
Yeah, so that's all the fun tech projects I've done. We're in the process of getting our fence removed right now because we're going to install a new privacy fence next month. And so I'm looking at adding some lighting out there as well. And so somebody in the Slack group recommended some lights. But if you have any idea or you've done lighting for your fences, I'd kind of like to see that because I want to get some ideas. I don't really need RGB. Really don't care about that. I just want like some ambient light whenever we're working back there, or I want to let the future dog out and be able to see things. So if you have a privacy fence and you've done some lighting around it, I would like to see that. So send that to us.
Sounds like an interesting project.
What do you have going on, Seth?
Well, I have been finally finishing on my work project, so I'm going to be able to get back to editing the show on time and that kind of stuff this week, maybe.
Twofer.
Yeah. But I did pick up a Dream L10S Ultra on recommendation.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Ooh.
I didn't even know about this.
Yeah. I got one of those things in and plugged it in, and my daughter had just gone to bed, and of course it has a speaker on it and starts talking to you. Just like why would a vacuum start like yelling at you at 9:00 at night? Of course it did, and she came out like, what is that noise? Who's talking? And I'm like, go back to bed. I'll show you in the morning. And yeah, this thing has a speaker on it. So my only complaint is that it did that. And then I probably should have waited and not, but you get something in, you want to plug it in, you want to take the boxes, you want to throw them away, and then you want to plug it in and see if it works. Because that's exactly what I did at 9:00 at night. And I wasn't going to wait till the next morning to set this thing up. So, but I guess like the first time you connect it to your Wi-Fi, it says, okay, I'm going to map your house. And it just took off. It starts yelling. I'm like, oh, shut up. And it just took off and it ran into me. And then it stopped. And then it turned around and it sat back down. I'm like, so I looked at it gives you a little floor plan to map out your house. And it's like, it had like nothing on it. I'm like, oh, this is going to go so well. But the next day it did go out and mop the house and run over some carpets and get stuck in a few places, got stuck under a couch and then under something else. But I have slowly and meticulously limited the places where it can go. And so far so good. It hasn't had too much work to do. After that first run, it sucked everything up. I guess that was like on the floor. And since it got stuck under the couch, it got all that good stuff up too. So hey, bonus, right? And then I was like, okay, well, I'm going to let you. And my daughter was on the floor crying because she could hear it just running over the Legos. Like, I'm like, oh, it's still there. Don't worry. We'll get the Legos out later. I'm pretty sure she lost a few heads or something. But yeah, I was able to like fish it out. But after it went under the couch, all the dust in the couch is all gone. So I at least know how to like make it go under there. And yeah, so far so good. I've got no complaints other than the very loud voice, which you can turn down in settings, but you kind of have to get into the app. The app is weird. I will say the app is weird.
Yeah, it's the Xiaomi app. So
yeah. it's definitely not the best user experience. It needs some Richard work on this thing, I think. But for what it is, it kind of makes sense. If you can kind of like look at it sideways from a programmer's perspective, you can make out what they're trying to do. But my wife can't. So she's like, "Hey, I think we named it Judy or something. I don't know why we named it Judy. I think my daughter came up with it, and we're like, we'll just name it Judy." I haven't put googly eyes on it, but that's coming tonight. I'll go put them on tonight. And then she said, she ran around today and she didn't mop anything. I'm like, oh yeah, I turned off the mop to do like just a quick vacuum. And I guess when I did that, I turned off the global settings. The global settings are basically the stupid like time it's supposed to go out every on schedule. And like, she's like, how do you change that? I'm like, I don't know. I don't know where I changed that. It's such a weird app. So, but we'll get used to it, and eventually we'll get this on a schedule. And then, I was seeing there in Home Assistant. Maybe I can get it brought into that where I don't even have to look at this.
It does integrate with Home Assistant, so
can send it off to a zone to get mowed to mow down the dirt. I guess in those zones, it'd be all right.
You ever see that screaming robot vac video? Whenever it bumps into something, it screams or it swears.
Yes.
Oh yeah. If you could do that mod to it, it'd be so worth it.
Well, if you hate the app for this, you would definitely hate the EcoVax one. The EcoVax one is a dumpster fire.
Man, it just wasn't needed at 9 o'clock at night when it just wasn't appreciated. And of course, I put like the thing where we were like, oh, we have this place, it's perfect right over here. It's like out of the way, nobody ever sees it, but it's the wall next to my daughter's bedroom. And of course, like when it gets back from the 5 feet that it ran before it bumped in my feet and decided that was as big as our house was going to be, it decided to like empty the tank. And of course the tank is like, sounds like a regular old vacuum with no, just crazy sounding vacuum. So she comes running out for that again. So the setup was frustrating, but I think we mostly have it working now and going to the places it needs to go. So yeah,
very cool. I'm interested to hear your long-term thoughts on it because I need to get a different robot mop. So trying to sell mine currently.
The one that doesn't work at all. I mean, it works perfectly. If you're interested, contact me.
Yeah, you can buy it from me. No problems at all. No problems at all.
No problems at all.
Yeah, it's perfectly fine.
Yeah. I got that going on. I swapped out my Unify switch for a Netgear for no reason at all. I have somebody that I know that need a Unify switch. And
me, that's me. I need it.
It's TJ.
Send it to me. Mine's maxed out.
He needs some PoE, and I was like, well, I got extra PoE in this thing, and I don't want this Unify switch anymore. So I swapped that out. And then it has this thing called Insight. I guess it has a local management interface, and I must have switched it over to Insight or whatever. And Insight works great. It's just kind of like Unify. But it allowed me somehow to I don't know what the term is. Like you can tag a VLAN, you can untag a VLAN, and then you can, whatever the other state is where it's neither tagged or untagged, whatever that is. I did that on my Sonos port, the port that goes to feed the Sonos equipment. And my wife is like, Sonos doesn't work. It doesn't work. I can't get it to work. I'm like, yeah, you're right. It doesn't work. I don't know what the problem is. Like, I'm like going around trying to figure out what multicasting, STP settings, which you can't get to or find on this thing. And turns out I just had the port basically turned off and removed from the management VLAN, which once it was fixed, Sonos magically started working like super fast and everything. So there you go. Whoops, my bad. So just keep an eye out for fat fingers in the Insight application, I guess.
When you mess with settings on these things, you should know what you're messing with. Word of advice.
Well, I will say that the app for Insight is not there. It has a device specific thing that you can get to, and then it has like a location. So like you can go in there and it allows you to set up multiple access points to deploy the whole thing. One, set them all up to the same SSID and all that stuff. So that's what the idea behind this app is. The problem is that those settings like aren't the same in each area. So I would go and check one and look at it and be like, well, I guess this is right, but I swear I saw something about STP. Where's that? I'd go look around. I can't find it. Go to the switches, go to the port configuration. Turns out it was like on the site. I don't know. It was buried somewhere on the phone app. And of course I'm just like tired and fumbling through it. So I woke up in the morning and had one of those things like, oh yeah, it's probably something stupid in this area. And I went to it, and as soon as I did, boom, Sonos came up, everything else started working, and it was great. So I bet TJ's excited though. You can get some more cameras.
No, well, yeah, maybe. You think I'll get the Switch this year though, or?
Well, I did find a box, so I have
nice.
a box that can be shipped in. So I got a bigger box now. It may say Dream Bot Vacuum on it.
That's fine.
Nicole may get all excited, and then they're like, "Oh wait."
Nah, she would not get excited about that.
All right, well, that's all I got. So maybe I'll do more next weekend.
That's all right.
Maybe I'll edit a show or two.
Say maybe 2 of them.
All right. Well, that's going to wrap up this week. We want to give a big thank you to everyone who supports the show, especially those who are able to financially support the show through our patron page. If you don't know how to support, you don't know about the patron page, head on over to HomeTech.fm/support to learn how you can support HomeTech for as little as $3,500, right? Is that
That's it. That's all.
That's all. Yeah.
Monthly pledge though. You got to keep it active for 3 or 4 months. We'll give you a special shout out on the show. Maybe even put your name on the website. I mean,
we might even do it there. Yeah. we'll post a Mastodon, and where tens of people will see it. Yeah. No, for as little as $8 a month, any pledge over $5 a month gets you a big shout out here on the show. But every single pledge gets you an invite to our private Slack chat, the Hub, where you and the other supporters of the show can gather in there. And I've seen a lot of things about home theaters passing through there. Owen's been building racks, which is kind of cool, right? There's the great 3 million toothbrushes have been infected and caused things. That was like a thing that I found today. It was a denial of service attack from toothbrushes. Turns out to be a mistranslated fake article that went viral today. So that was fun. Lots of stuff going on, especially around theaters. Oh no, you guys have been talking about the what is it? The Innovelli Smart 2-in-1 switch on and off dimmer with Richard.
The Matter ones.
Yeah, I'm eyeballing those too, because I bought some of those, but they're Z-Wave. Or no, they're Zigbee.
Yep. I just picked up a couple Zigbees myself too.
The Zigbee ones are nice. I'm using them at my house, so.
Yeah. The Z-Wave ones are nice too, so.
I don't know why I bought them. I don't have any way to connect to them or anything. But they're there. They look nice. I will give them that. And the instructions are fun. And the box and the packaging I like. So you
just buy it because the instructions are fun.
I really didn't think it through. I thought I was going to be able to do something different. And
you're like the perfect client. Just hey, look, instructions.
No, he's not, because he doesn't
all the wrong stuff.
Anything.
Yeah.
He's not the perfect client, because you'll be like, hey, we need to get this project done. And be like, I don't know what you're talking about.
No, we just show him fun instructions. He was like, bought. Yep, I want to.
They do a good job on their products, and it wasn't that expensive. I think
it was
I got
like $40 or something. I think.
Yeah, I think there was even a sale for like 2 for whatever when I bought them. So
stop talking prices, because what I had to pay for them is not cheap.
Well, we need to start smuggling these things up to Canada.
No, I'll bring you up some, Gavin.
There we go.
You know what? I'm gonna place a whole bunch of orders for stuff and just have them shipped to your house.
Just get it shipped to my house. I mean, I'm only like 6 hours from you, so it's really not
exactly.
That much.
You could drive it up.
I'll smuggle them in.
You can put one of these ASCII art videos on and just drive on up. There we go. On your glasses.
With my Apple Vision Pro.
In your Tesla.
Yeah.
I'm not that rich.
Tesla service truck's got to be pretty awful. If you want to help out but can't support the show financially, totally understand. Just appreciate a 5-star review on iTunes or positive rating in the podcast app of your choice. That's going to wrap up another week of news here on HomeTech. Everybody have a great weekend, and we will see you next week.
Till next time.
Take care. And now we have the second show for this week.
Boom. Boom.
All get released on the same day.
Backdated.
Yeah, you get a good long weekend of listening to what you can do on your road trip to Canada.